I'm Heather Switzer. I'm 30 years old. I was diagnosed when I was 28, and I actually found the lump on Christmas Eve. You know, the day that I found out I had cancer, I actually had a women's conference that night, and I had to go serve on the greeting team. One of the speakers that weekend was a pastor who I love, and she talked about her experience with breast cancer. So coming away from that weekend was when I kind of just made up my mind that I wasn't going to let myself think about all the what ifs. I chose to do this at the art studio. My photographer brought up the idea of using this location because I knew I wanted something inside. I knew I wanted something really different outside the box. It's kind of just how I live my life. I don't really want to conform. I like having a little bit of crazy unpredictability. I'm kind of a fly by the seat of your pants kind of girl in a lot of ways. So I just thought it would be a great place to get creative and see what happens. I went to high school with a girl who owns a water sports place over at Chesapeake Bay, and Beyond Boobs happened to have an event there. I was really sick from chemo. I had just shaved my head. You know, I wasn't really feeling like going. And of course the Beyond Boobs people came, introduced themselves, just welcomed me, and I knew it was something I had to get involved with. Everybody's fighting something. So, you know, you can really get around a group of women who are living what you're going through. And they just encourage you to do it with a good attitude and live your life fully and enjoy whatever you can out of this journey. Even though it's not the most ideal situation, you still have life to live.
My name right now is Patty Coffey. When I was first diagnosed, it was Patty Messier. I was diagnosed May 2014. And it had come after a period of time. My dad had been diagnosed with colon cancer. And I, being the oldest daughter and closest daughter, was down there spending a lot of time with him through various surgeries, through chemotherapy. I missed my mammogram that year and promised myself, once my dad had a clean CAT scan, that I would go ahead and start taking care of myself again. Had I not made myself that promise, that, you know, I would get right back on track and get this done, it might not have been found as early as it was, and my treatment might not have been as successful. I immediately got on Facebook and contacted 3 or 4 friends, all of them, which I didn't realize at the time, had been members of Beyond Boobs. And I went to the meeting, and each person in that room was somebody I knew and recognized. And that to me was very eye-opening, that, you know, you're not going through this by yourself. You know, all these people have been through it, and look at them now. My big thing at the time was my boyfriend, Greg. The day we got the diagnosis, stood by my side, made the phone calls with me, went to every doctor's appointment with me with his notebook. He gave me something to live for at the end. He was the light at the end of the tunnel for me. I'm thankful for my family. My family is what my life is all about. You know, from my parents to my sisters and my children, and now Greg and Colin, who are now my newly married family. And family is just everything in my life.
Hi, I'm Stacy. I was diagnosed at 41 with breast cancer. Didn't know what to think, what to feel, didn't know what to say. Decided to call my husband. I think that was probably the hardest part. I just remember him telling me, whatever it takes, you're going to get through this. We're going to do it. And we did. We did all the surgeries. There was 10 surgeries in total. I went through chemo, radiation, did everything possible to keep the cancer at bay. I think for myself, the hardest part wasn't during the process, it was afterwards. My whole last 2 years have been going to the doctors and taking care of everything. I didn't even know how to live anymore. Being able to lean on my sisters meaning Beyond Boobs, they were the ones that brought me back out of that darkness. They were the ones that were there for me. They understood what I was feeling. They knew those fears. I appreciate that from them. They've given me motivation to do things that I've never wanted to do before, like jump out of an airplane. I feel like I'm living now. Every day, I look for opportunities to make it the best day. I'm actually fulfilling life again.
My name is April Salvant, and I found out about my diagnosis in July of 2015. I had been living overseas in Haiti previously, and so I had to come back to the United States for treatment. One of the things I'm super thankful for is the things I've learned in Haiti, living amongst some of the strongest people I've ever met in my life. And knowing the hardships and the things that they've gone through and I've seen them go through with joy and with such resilience, it's taught me to be a stronger person. I really am lucky to live in the United States and have access to really good health care. And I really hope that one day I can see that change in Haiti. I'm really thankful for my husband. We've been married for almost 22 years. Just having someone who keeps their vow for better, for worse, in sickness and in health. And he's really just been amazing during this time. Just thanks for being so strong and for picking up the slack on the days when I've been really sick and sitting with me in the hospital, sleeping by my side, and just really taking good care of me. I kind of had just this fighter spirit in me of saying I'm going to beat it and I'm going to be okay and I'm going to see my grandkids one day, and remind yourself to dwell on the good things and just trusting God, and it's all in His hands.
My name is Christy Fields, and I'm a survivor over a year. I chose Hampton University to do my photo shoot because of the symbolic meaning of starting over. My mentor hired me knowing the fact that I would have to go through chemo, so I was already diagnosed, had a couple of surgeries, and when I healed from the surgeries, I started here. There were days where it was not so good going through chemo. You have a lot of down days. I would just come here to reflect and pray, and my surgeon at the time was just drawing on the paper saying how we're gonna fight it and do other surgeries, and I'm still trying to process the fact that he told me you have cancer. My husband was like, we were gonna beat this thing as a team like we do everything else in our marriage. Well, there are no words that I could possibly come up with to thank everybody that's been there, including my Beyond Boobs sisters. Oh my goodness. Beyond Boobs came in at a time where I was like at rock bottom. You know, people constantly stayed in contact whether I returned calls or not. So I would just say thank you. I appreciate everything that everyone has done, and I would not have been able to make it to this point without the support of people that I have.
My name is Deidre Sanchez. Everybody actually calls me Dee. First time when I found out that I was diagnosed with breast cancer, it was actually 2 days before the new year. It was December 30th, 2013. I was not totally prepared for it. I think my husband was more prepared for it than I was. The thing that helped pull me out of the cancer funk was listening to music during my chemo treatments and listening to the words of the songwriters and how they say you can do it, you can overcome, you can pull through, take a step at a time. Because of my love of music and because of my faith, and just to be out in nature and amongst just creation in general. You know, because everybody, when they hear that word, it's like, oh, you have cancer? But when you talk about to anybody at Beyond Boobs, they just lift you right up. And the things that they've done for us to where we've gone zip lining and how to live beyond cancer and, you know, have fun doing it.
My name is Christy Bergen, and my mom is actually a twice-over survivor. So she was diagnosed first at the age of 46. They had been monitoring me ever since the age of 35, and it came time for my regular routine mammogram in October of 2013. They told me that they found a group of calcifications, or calcification cluster is what they called it. They referred me to the breast care clinic and scheduled me for the surgeries. Had a lumpectomy and then a mastectomy after that. Kind of felt like they were monitoring me so closely, and I was kind of like, oh, my mom got it twice, but I don't think that I'm gonna get it. So when I got the call, it was pretty scary, but they did say, you know, it was caught early and, you know, we're gonna get this taken care of for you. So I was really thankful. I did not handle it very well at all. Kind of started plunging into a deep, dark spot. I've been through a few things in my life and consider myself a pretty resilient person. And so having that feeling was just kind of foreign to me. And my husband, who is such a wonderful source of support, he's just been so great the whole journey. He really was trying to help me as much as he could, and he did. And he just hit good old Google and found Beyond Boobs, and he found the phone number to a facilitator and called her at 11 o'clock at night on a Sunday, and she answered the phone. And I could actually hear him downstairs. I was upstairs in our bedroom, and he said, I don't know what to do for my wife. Will you please talk to her? And they did. Thank you for believing in me, and thank you for being strong for me when I couldn't be strong for myself.
My name is Mary Jo Wilfong. I was diagnosed June 13th, 2014. I was in a huge denial. My life was crazy. I'm working full-time, going to school full-time, and I didn't want cancer stealing my time. So I love to cook, and cooking also keeps me focused. It gets my creative side going. I love playing with ingredients and the smells of herbs, and to turn that around and create a beautiful meal and serve it to friends and family. Somebody that I had worked with was a cancer survivor, and I remembered that she was part of this group, and then I kind of forgot about it, and then other people who were supporting me said, you really need to get in touch with her and see when the next support group meeting is before you go for surgery. There was probably about 50 women in this house. It was completely crowded. Everybody was talking and about cancer and treatments and, you know, what's going on and my next, you know, wig being bought. And that's when everybody shows you their boobs and shares their scars. And that was a reality check, because that's what I was going to look like, and that's what I needed to see.
I'm Leanne Krause. I work in the school system, and we were off for Christmas, and I had just had my 37th birthday. The doctor said that they didn't think it was cancer because it was not spiculated. It was nice and rounded. Biopsy showed that it was. My doctor took the lump out on a Friday and promptly went on vacation the next week and told me by Tuesday that I would know. And so I started calling on Wednesday, and when nobody in the office wants to talk to you, you kind of know it's not good news. My kids were my motivation. I needed to get through it for them, be as strong in their eyes as my mother had been for me. The road to life is wide open, and I can do what I need to do or what I want to do. If I want to travel, I can travel, and I have no ties binding me. So the photo shoot today was supposed to represent, you know, a convertible with wind in your hair and open road and a packed bag and all the opportunities that this side of 50 will offer me.
attitude of gratitude for me was from the scripture, and I'll paraphrase it. If you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you should say unto this mountain, be moved, and the mountain shall be moved. So when you see a long road, you know you don't know what's around the curve. But if you have faith, you know you can make it through. And the sunflowers, the yellow reminds me of the mustard seed. It's just a reminder of how little faith we need. My name is Sharon Carver, and I'm from Titusville, Florida. I was first diagnosed in April of 2008. I had my mammogram done after being prodded by my doctor to get it done, and I said I'm going to go and make my appointment. I did the mammogram, and I got this certified letter in the mail that we want you to come back in and do another test. So I didn't really think anything of it. He explained that film came back suspicious, and then he wanted to do further testing, and he wanted to do a biopsy. He said, your test came back and it is cancerous. And so he explained to me that we were going to do a lumpectomy and we're going to go in and remove it. And so the doctor called me the day before, late that afternoon, and he says, well, I got some good news and I have some bad news. The good news is that you're not going to have this surgery. And the bad news is that the radiologist found a second spot, which was lower. And if he had found that second spot first, then we'd have completely missed the first one. I made a promise to God. I said, if you get me through this, that wherever I go, I will share my story, my testimony with everybody. It's how you have brought me out. And that's where my faith in God lies, because He can handle everything.
Let's see, my name is Alvita Henderson, and I first was diagnosed at the age of 36. Was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer, and that was in 2010. So 2014, I had a reoccurrence. In August of 2015, we realized that it came back again. So it has been here 3 times. Praise dance is a form of dance that is a form of worship. So with that, it kind of empowers me to fight. My ancestry and my heritage is very important to me because of the strength of the people that came before me. My mother and my son and I were actually in Zoe's restaurant, and Mary Beth and Renee came up to me and asked me about my lymphedema sleeve. And I explained to them what it was for because it was a really unique pattern on it. And I explained to them that I was a breast cancer survivor. God means for me to be here for a reason, and He's not going to allow me to leave this earth until I have finished what He has called me to do here. To me, that's what keeps motivating me. That's what keeps me going. It's to know that I know what He promised me, and so I'm standing on that promise.
My name's Adriana. I was diagnosed 3 years ago at the age of 34. I always say I found my cancer by accident. Just found it in the shower one time. Went to see a doctor who kind of brushed it under the rug, told me it really wasn't anything to worry about. Sent me for a mammogram and ultrasound, and within about a week, I got the call that tells me that I have cancer. The fear set in kind of immediately because I immediately thought about my daughters and what they were going to do. They helped me simply by pulling me out of bed every day. You know, they kept me and wouldn't let me go to those dark places. Thank you, babies, for always keeping me where I needed to be, never letting me feel sorry for myself, and always letting me know how much you need me, because that kept me moving. You never, ever, ever give up. And they taught me that, because you have to get up get dressed, put one foot in front of the other, no matter what's going on, because life's hard and you got to keep it moving. So thank you, babies. I got to a point where I felt like I couldn't really express to my babies how scared I was, and I didn't want to let my family or my friends know how scared I was. And so I decided to call them one day, and I went to a meeting. And so I've often told them, the doctors, they saved my life physically, but Beyond Boobs saved me in every other way. I'm hooked. They can't get rid of me now. So, yeah.